to another episode of Close Up. And today, guys, we have the anointed pastor. Some of you know him as Minister Ellard. Yes, he's right here in the studio. Help me welcome this man. Most of you know when he gets on the stage, he puts up that smile, eh? Today he's going to tell us all about it, eh? Welcome, Minister Ellard, to Close Up. Good to have you here, Baba.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so humbled to be. I can't stop smiling, as you can see. It's good to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's amazing how people react in the presence of God, and I'm just thinking, this is the first thing I wanted to ask you ever since that. I mean, some people, when they're in the presence of God, they cry. I'm one of them. I know I do cry sometimes. And some, they think it's that time to be so serious. You see a person, like I know on Madara, when you're singing, the praise songs and jumping and whatever, they're all happy. But when it comes to worship, most people feel it's a time to frown. And
they'll be serious.
But you do completely the opposite. You smile, Baba. I just wanted to know... What makes you smile like that? And like you can see, the smile is not like a funny thing. It's serious, and like people have accepted that kind of worship with you. Where do you draw that from? And what really happens? What makes you smile?
Well, funny enough, a lot of people have been asking me that question actually, and I've never really given them the answer like really where it comes from. My mom used to be a great worshiper, and she's the person that I've drawn much of my inspiration from. And I used to see her when I was very little. I started singing when I was around 5 years, 4 years, and from that age I would see her almost now and again ministering in church, and she would always put that smile on her face. So when I got that opportunity to do so, I just got up and got let me just follow suit. But also they say that you can never reflect what you don't have. You can never bring out what you don't have. Maybe it's the joy that is inside of me that I have in the presence of the Lord, and I take that, and that's how I show it.
It's the joy you have inside of you. I think that's a very powerful quality for any minister to, first of all, be filled with the joy, and then you'll be able to express it out. I mean, you cannot give what you don't have. I mean, there's a book I read about Jim Rohn. He says that you cannot give what you don't have. Tell me something a little bit more about, while we are still on that, I think that formulates more of the art of worship. When you are doing a song, or when you select songs, how do you select songs if you are like a worshiper? What is the art there? And is it every song, like for example, you smile? And I know it's not every song that you do that. What is the art behind selecting a song?
One time I spoke to this one of my mentors, the man who mentored me in the worship ministry. And one of the things that he said to me was that, Ellard, what is important whenever you are ministering to people, whenever you are singing a song, make sure that number one, you understand the lyrics that you are singing. That then becomes very, very important. So ukazia zvauri kuimba, number one. Number two, attach your testimony to the words that you are singing, because when you understand the song, the second thing that you need to do is to attach a testimony. If, for instance, God has healed you before, and you are singing about the healing power of the name of the Lord, it becomes easy. And he was saying to me, you attach your testimony to the song that you are singing, and you realize that the moment that you are doing that, the art in itself will just flow. It will come because it's something that you are ministering, that God has done in your life. It's like you are giving a testimony, and the Bible says they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Yeah. So that in itself, the moment that you are doing so, it flows automatically. That's how I've always done it, and you know the way that you have to worship your God. Yeah. If you know that He healed you, you cannot be then taught to lift up your hands. You cannot then be taught to kneel down. You cannot then be taught to cry, to say, you know what, if it was not of this God, I wouldn't be here today. So those are the two basic secrets that I always use, men of God.
Interesting.
When it comes to that.
Interesting. I resonate quite well with what you're telling us, and please stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Minister Ellard is still with us. Stay with us on the second segment. He's going to take us deeper into this art, and also not forgetting our title of the day, maintaining the worship atmosphere. So don't go anywhere. Sit back, relax. We'll be back shortly after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second segment. We still have Minister Ellard in the house. Minister, you were just explaining to us just before we went on a break about the art in worship, when you were talking about attaching testimonies to what you are singing, and I resonate with that quite well. But here's a question now, Minister. A lot of people I've seen, they have sort of, gotten a grip of that. But sometimes I think some people don't know when to end, because at times a person ends up making some sort of a sermon. I've seen it where, in some instances, the pastor has to sort of rebuke a person when they were going on and on and on and on and on about their testimony and not getting back to the singing part. So what is the limit? How do you know, okay, this is enough of the testimony, now let me get into the singing? How do you balance it?
Well, there are two sides to it. The first side is singing. It's an art, it's an art. Music, it's an art. When you are ministering before people, it's an art. So you cannot run away from that. So if it's an art, you have people that will tell you that, okay, let's say if you're ministering, let's say it's a live DVD setup, and you have other people who can tell you that, okay, your song is 5 minutes. So you then have to balance it to say, I'm going to speak for these 30 seconds, or you are in church. Now, that other side is the other side that I want to talk about, which is the spiritual side to things. The Bible says in the book of Psalm 91, it says, "He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Yeah. In other words, there is a place in God that when you are, he says, the one that dwells in the secret place. In other words, this person is not a visitor. They now know the way to the secret place of God. They now know the place to the atmosphere of God. And God has become acquainted with them in that way that Maruno Petsira Agumudza, okay, for you to get here, this is how you need to go. You use this way, So in other words, they're saying ukaramba uchita something over and over again. The moment that you go into the presence of the Lord will tell you, he will tell you that, son, it's enough. Okay. Now you minister, now sing. Well, if you say this, he will tell you that it's okay, it's enough. Now go ahead and do this
also,
other part.
While we're still on that, I like what you just mentioned, it's a Shona proverb. Muziwe paruware. Forgive me, my Shona was bad in school. But muziwe paruware. Most of the times, that's the meaning. Here is another thing that maybe I would need you to kind of shed more light. How do you? I hear a lot of people talking about the worship atmosphere, and how do you create the atmosphere? This thing of going where is it that you go? A lot of people, they say, you have to be used to going, like you're saying, be used to being in the worship atmosphere. How does one go into the worship atmosphere? Should you sing the Psalm of David? Should you sing a hymn song? How do you do it? And how then do you bring that when you are now performing live?
Okay, so I'm gonna explain this with a series of scriptures. Allow me to do that.
Okay, please.
Scripture says, approach the throne of God with boldness to obtain grace and to find mercy in your time of need. So, number one, what you need to do is you need to approach the throne of God with boldness. Now, Revelations chapter number 4, it gives us a background of how a certain man was then taken. John, he says, come up here, I want to show you certain things. Now, the first thing that John sees, he says, and I saw a throne being set in heaven, and there was one that sat on the throne. Now, to any worshiper who is watching right now, who is listening right now, you need to understand that your only audience, let me say only, I wanted to say first. Yeah, first, but I want to say only.
Okay.
Now, if you know that your only audience is God, when you are starting, your only audience is God, because when you are in the service, you need to understand that God is your only audience. You are a lead vocalist. You are leading people so that we might worship together God. So God then becomes your only audience. Now, if God becomes your only audience, you then have to understand that if He is the only audience, it means I can worship Him even at home without other people. Now, that's where people don't really then get it. They think worship is when you stand in front of people and they are instrumentalists. Drama, worship. Even when you are at home, when you are alone. Because if you know the road, if you know how to approach His throne, if you know that how the moment that you do this, God will react in this way. Because it's like this. Let me give you an example. Simple example.
Yeah.
Zvakafanana nemu studio menyuma muri Munawamari. You have a beautiful studio, I can see. Now,
you.
This studio, if I can ask you a question and say, if you ask me to say Malaitem studio, nobody's papi. You know, I don't consong anything especially nigapinda mu room studio makadzimwa my lights and it's so dark and there's nothing. I would ndinotambura kuzobata kuzoswitcha kuwana pane switch nokubatidza lights. So that's how it is. So in worship, the moment that you worship God alone, uri kutsvaga pane switch and musi waunopawana pane switch, you will know that the switch is right there. So in front of people, you will not struggle to know that the switch is there. If I just hold it there, if I do this, I will go direct to the switch. Zvasiyana nemunhu asina kumbobvira aziva information yeroom iyoyo kuziya. Ndo pari kunzi naDavid, he who dwells. Now, the people that dwell in a house, I'll give you an example. In your house, the people that know that the rules of your house are the people that stay under your roof. Yeah. If a visitor comes in your house and they begin to, and then you say to them, and I'm not speaking at tea, anotanga kubvunza kuti saka shuga inogara pai saka but kune mwana anogara mumba imomo atomboswera achibvunza anongoenda kukitchen and nozbikira tea because munhu anogara. So David says he who dwells, it doesn't say he who visits. And
that is powerful. I'm not taurisa mataura chokwadi. You know, it's really helpful. You know, sometimes I feel like sessions like these are very critical. This is part of why we actually came up with Close Up, because it's hard for people, some people, to even reach you and be talking to you, and you can't really as well maybe talk to millions of people that follow you. So this will be a very good way for people to get to hear what our seniors like yourself, you know, what is it that you do? What is the secret? Because there's the lack of mentorship. There's the lack of this information. So thank you for such a powerful illustration. Wow. If one does not live in a certain house, they don't know where the sugar is. They don't know where the salt is. And they'll keep asking. When you know where the switch is, I like that. When you know when the switch is. Okay, wow. Tell me something, Minister. Just before we go on a break, just a last question in brief. I know I'm being told that my time is out with our timer in the studio. But before we go, help me understand, or help us understand the biggest question, which is formulating the title of this entire interview, maintaining the atmosphere. Because I think some people, they might have found out the switch you were talking about, but somewhere, somehow, you kind of see that a person is kind of stumbling and is, some of them, they kind of lose grip. Does the switch changes? Does God change switches? Like, if you find where the switch is there some point in time when God will just think, no, this young man is growing a big head. let me change the switch. How do you maintain it?
Okay, now here's what happens. Thank you for asking, because it's a very, very important question that you've just asked. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
God moves in waves. God moves in waves. And the wave that he might be in today is not the wave that he will be in tomorrow. So a lot of us then have this misunderstanding of saying, I know you have witnessed this in one way or the other. This week muswe Sunday munoimba imwe nziyo so ye worship so yo fire vanhu vorira nendimi haikona kutaura mweya mutsvene woporesa vanhu and then you come next week but taudzokora song iyoyo pertaining to the season, and then moimba same song iyoyo mona kuti hapana kana chaitika kala so sometimes then what happens is, now God moves in waves. So the wave that he might be in today is not the wave that he will be in tomorrow. So these are the things that the Spirit of God will tell you. That son, that no wonder why you could church Munoti inina. I always have a problem with the guys Banoridza church, because ndigava itikata yesau and ndigava pama song and ruguita. I know a lot of people will say, we also do rehearsals, I'll give you an example. Service, I will change the song because maybe the Spirit of God says to me, no, don't sing that song, sing this one. Yeah. I'll tell you, for instance, there's a song that I did recently that is there on YouTube right now, which is You Are Yahweh. There's over 500,000 views right now.
Wait.
That song was not on the list.
While you're still there, let me just advise the people. People, please go visit Minister Ellard's YouTube page and his social medias. They're right there on your screens right now as I speak. Go there. Oh, but go when we're done talking, okay? But visit there and subscribe and like and follow him. Such a powerful minister. Continue, please. Sorry.
Thank you. So that song was not on the list. It was not even on the list.
Wow.
Trust me, it was not.
It was not on the list.
And what happened was, it was not on the list. What happened was, I sang a hymnal song, the one that I released recently called Hakuna Amakupinda Jesu. So immediately after I released that song, I finished singing that song. I was supposed to sing another song. So then I overheard the pastor. If you go listen very carefully before, like the song Yahweh, when it's about to start, you hear my pastor. He was holding the microphone. If you can see him, he's there in the frame. And then he was praying and saying, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. And then immediately the Spirit of God said to me, that's the song that you are supposed to sing. And I'm like, what? Now? And then the Spirit of God said, right now. And then I opened my mouth and then I started singing that song. The band had not rehearsed that song. The BVs had not rehearsed that song. And the way it came out was just amazing. And so many people have come with testimonies of how God has ministered in their lives to that. So what I'm just saying is that God moves in waves. The wave that he might be in today might not be the wave that he is tomorrow. So what then the Spirit of God says, according to Romans chapter 8, verse 14, it says, those that are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. They are mature sons of God. In other words, when you continuously get in the presence of the Lord, you have koinonia, intimacy, fellowship with him, the more that he will reveal himself to you. So when he reveals himself to you, when you get in a service, the Spirit of God will tell you that today, son, don't even sing praise songs. Come on, just worship me. There are things that I want to do with people, and then you just start singing worship songs, and there is someone who is in the congregation is waiting for you to sing a praise song so that they can dance. And right there in that moment, a certain mother is being healed of maybe she's been praying to God to meet her. Maybe the pastor has been praying and saying, "There's a word that I want to release," and right there it comes to that.
Koinonia. I like the word koinonia. I'm being educated. Is that Greek?
Koinonia. Yeah, koinonia.
Oh, Greek. Thank you so much for such wisdom, Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, Minister is not done with us. We're coming back on the third and final segment, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about the practicality of worship from home and everything, family and whatever you. So don't go anywhere. Plus, we've got a surprise. I've got a surprise for you, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, to the final segment. We still have Minister Ellard. Yes, I think I'm going to call him the smiling machine, because his smile, it really gets to me. It's contagious. Look at me, I'm already smiling too. We just need some strings or some pads so we can start worshiping. Minister, you were educating us. I'm still digesting the word koinonia and all these things you're telling us. Powerful insight. I love that. But tell me something, Minister. There's something or another part that most ministers miss. And also, I want to really know about the physical aspect or the family side of your life. We know you are married to the amazing Ellard Cherayi, and you guys are a power couple. We know what you guys do and what you're capable of. But here's the thing. In terms of support, what can a wife or a spouse? I'm going to address this in two ways. Firstly, we talk about a minister who's married, and we talk about a minister who's not, because some people are not married. But suppose in my case, I'm married. How can a spouse support her husband, or how can the husband support the wife? And does that even have an impact in the worship to start with?
Wow, that's a very good question. You know what? I'll speak on my side first. Having Ellard Cherayi in my life has been the most amazing thing that has ever happened in my life. I don't want to lie to you.
Amen.
Because vakauya muupenyu hwangu vakandibatsira zvakawanda. Now on the worship side of things, she is my sensei. Actually, she is my tutor. She teaches me, and that alone. If you go to see my first performance that I did in Zimpraise and to see how I'm singing now, there's totally two different things, because she has been helping me in terms of the skill aspect of it as my wife, and her support is just amazing. You really need the support of your wife. In my case, she has supported me so much in the skill side of things. Also, she is my prayer partner. She believes in me so much. You really need that.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you are singing, when you're ministering, you look at yourself and you look at other ministers who have made it, who are making an impact. You really need a person in your life to tell you that, you know what, you can get there, you can do this, don't worry, you can do it. And then sometimes when you are faced with a difficult situation, just as a wife, you really need that, and she's so supportive of my ministry. Even I'm a pastor as well, and she's so supportive of my ministry as a man of God. She prays together with me, even in terms of writing songs. She can write a song and then she can come and say to me, Baba, I want you to have this song. Think about this song. How can you help me also?
Speaking of the pastor issue you just mentioned, I thought I will forget if I don't. Suppose you guys have an assembly now, and for some reason you get so overwhelmed in the ministry as pastors, and that disrupts the singing part, what do you think would be the reaction on your wife? I mean, I know the pastoral demands a lot, going to pray for people and all of that.
Now the advantage, thank you so much for that question. The advantage that we have is we got into this when we already knew what God had actually planned for us. We already knew which way God was taking us. And one of the most important things as well that I want to acknowledge is that God has given us mentors. God has given me like my bishop, my pastor. He's an amazing mentor in my life. He's helping me in that, as a young man, as a young minister, you are growing. You have so many ambitions. And he will help you and say, you know what, Ellard, I think you need to do this. Why don't you think, what happens if you do this? And he's been really helpful in that way, because he is like aligning us as well, helping us to align to what God has already spoken in our lives, in terms of where our ministry is going and what impact we need to have in terms of our ministry.
And another question,
as Baba and Amai.
And another question, maybe I just wanted to add on, Minister, is how do you find a mentor? Trust me, I've seen certain people calling certain people mentors, and it turns out that some people who were called mentors were just simply people that inspire them, but they were not really mentoring. How do you identify a mentor, and how do you get one to ask him or her to become your mentor? How does that whole thing work?
I like what you just said, that a lot of people have seen people as people who would inspire them, and then they say that they are mentors, and when you don't even have any communication with that person, etc. There is a lot of debate and information about mentors, fathers, etc. I don't want to get into that. I want to speak about my life as well, how I have managed to deal with this matter. God speaks. I think that's the most important thing. God speaks, and when God speaks, when God spoke in our lives to approach certain individuals, because it is not maybe just one person. You can have a mentor in a certain area of your life, and you can have another mentor in a certain area of your life, in business, in marriage, in other things, in music, because as I wouldn't want to lie, as much as my pastor is my spiritual mentor in things that have to do with music, I have to find a person who is in the industry, who can help me, as much as my mentor, my pastor can give me advice to say, in this way, do A, B, C, D, why don't you, but I love my mentor because he will acknowledge and say, you know what, Ellard, I don't know everything. Look for a person who is also into that industry, who can also help you. So I believe God speaks to you. Number one, you speak to the person for you to then mentor you, and that is very, very important. And that's how, like I said, Romans chapter 8 verse 14, which says, as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. The leading of the Holy Spirit then becomes very, very important.
Interesting, Minister. Well, there are some instances where people have a person they want to get to be their mentor, and the mentor is not interested in being the mentor. So is there instances like that where one wants a person to mentor them and the person doesn't want it? How does one deal with that then?
Okay, let me answer it from both ends, because I've been in both ends. It happens so many times. So kuti munhu anouya mwari akandiudza kuti ndimi mento, iwe pamwari ana kutombotaura newe utongoti akomana zvino chiregai mwari achataurawo neni. Because for real I don't want to lie to you. Sometimes people will come, like for instance, I'll tell you this in all humility. I have at least in a day, I have at least maybe 1.5 people, at least in a day, who come to me. If I say 1.5, I mean maybe 2 in 3 days, something like that. Who come to me maybe in my inbox, Facebook, Instagram, say, man of God, maybe they got my number through somewhere and then they text. Sometimes maybe God has not said anything to you, and also no, let's pray about it. Kana Mwara akazotaurowo neni, I'll definitely come back to you to say, you know what, God has spoken to me, let's do this. And then on the other side, kana ukamwari genuinely, if you feel God has spoken to you, kuti someone has to be my mentor, and you go to them and then they say no, pray about it. Ask God to say, is it the right thing? Is it the right time? Because it might not be the right time. The time might be later. The time might not be then. There are so many dynamics to the thing. Okay. So ask God. It then becomes easy. Mwaraga taura na munhu wacho bhati, oh sure, mwaraga zotaura neni, let's do this. I think
that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Minister. But before you go, I promise these people there's a surprise, eh? So guys, this is the thing. We have 4 questions. We have 4 questions right on the screen right now that Minister doesn't know. And don't tell him, okay? Don't type in the comment section right now. Don't tell him. But he has to pick a number between 1 to 4. Actually, he has to pick 2. And I'll read out the questions here and he has to give us an honest answer. So, Minister, are you ready?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go. You can pick a number now.
I'm going to pick 2.
All right. Number 2. Do you see number 2, guys? My word. All right. Number 2 question reads, have you written a love song before?
Oh, man of God, you know what? Actually, matoya le munda mangu. Guess what? Yeah. Maybe this one is for the guys who are watching at home. We actually in the process of doing that right now, together with my wife. From nowhere, I just said to her, you know what, I think we need to do a love song. And then she said, yeah, I think we need to do that as well. There's one she sang for me, a beautiful song she did for me. Back then, I think but it's a beautiful song. So I then said, you know what, I think we need to write a love song. I need to write a love song for you, maybe to write a song that we'll do together. I don't know, I want to do it. And it's in the process.
I can't wait for that one. You must send me first before you give these people.
No problem, man of God. No
because
problem.
I've moved in the spirit, guys. So allow me to say I'm a prophet, Nyada. I'm just kidding, guys.
Definitely you are.
Yeah, the second one. I'm waiting for the second number now.
Number 3.
Number 3. Ooh, all right. Number 3. Who is your favorite non-gospel musician?
Oh, no. Did you say none?
Non-gospel, because I know if I say gospel, you just pick up and then before I even finish the question.
Obviously. None. Is it locally here in Zimbabwe or international?
As long as it's just not gospel. Could be local, could be international. It's whichever.
Okay, so my only problem is this, man of God. I don't listen to external music. I'm not exposed to that. I'm not like that, like listening to like that, But I just have maybe some few songs maybe that I've just heard.
Okay.
Which one tempted
you when you're driving or when you're in the house and you were like, okay, this is not really talking about God, but I like it. We want to hear that.
Okay, I'm a bit of an oldie. I like I used to like urban grooves, when I was growing up. Like really, I used to love urban grooves when I grew up. And I think Chamembe. I think that Chamembe album. Yeah, I think let me just say that. Yeah, that one was yeah, that was the thing for me.
Took us long enough. No, thank you so much, Minister. It's been wonderful interacting with you on this show. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you so much.
And coming to the program. I know you and I know Tagar Wiswa to get this thing going, but we thank God finally we did it.
Very true. Amen. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, Baba. I'm so humbled to be here, and thank you so much for everyone who is watching. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Please pass my regards to Ellard Cherayi. Tell her we're waiting for the love song, and also to Sino Musa, the beautiful angel, your daughter. Oh my word. Minister has such a powerful, and I think I saw her singing. Before we go, I think I saw her singing something. I'll look for the clip and I'll put it. She's wow. I'm trying to think what's gonna happen. That generation is going to be powerful. Eh? A mixed breed.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. She is a musician. She loves singing. She really does love singing so much.
Wonderful.
Definitely, I'll pass my regards to them.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in today's episode with Minister or Pastor Ellard Cherayi. It's been a pleasure having you guys. Don't forget to hit that like, comment, share, and catch us next week, same time, same place. Bye.